Hello everybody, welcome back to the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus. With me, Flik, doing another Forsaken run. I guess we'll aim for either boss rush or we still have to do the Dark Room path as well. Delirium or whatever, we'll worry about when the time comes. This episode is dedicated to Sean Fortune. Thank you very much for your support on Patreon last month. There's the seed while I cross off this name for you. Gusm. And then J7BM. Oh, BM. That's not a good thing to have in a seed. Although it means so many things, even in internet slang. Bad manners, bowel movement. Wait, there is a third one. Bad manners, bowel movement. Oh, I can't remember the third one. There is definitely a third one though. Maybe it's game context sensitive, as in like there's a game where the initials BM mean something. Friends till the end. So I don't really like the Forsaken, as is probably apparent from the extended episode we did where I was just doing a few runs on stream trying to get stuff unlocked. Too many gimmicks in one. I think to make him more interesting to me, you would get rid of the ghost stuff entirely, make him able to get spirit hearts as well as his bone hearts, and then he would be much more interesting. I think there is something to be said for the ghost mechanic though, and I believe you could have used it to make the Lost more interesting to play as. I'm always pressing the wrong button to change to the ghost, which also does not help. Like, if you incorporated the ghost mechanic into the Lost so that every floor of the Lost possessed a different other character's body, I think that would be super interesting. Like, you still have to work with the health of the host, but you can also just play as the Lost and the stats you've accrued for him so far. But then you've also got this host body, and if you lose the host body, you don't die instantly, you're stuck as the ghost. I think that'd be a really fun, interesting character. Yeah, pardon me also. A melee focus character is also interesting, but the two mixed together is just too much. It's too many gimmicks in one character. I don't like it. We did get ourselves another spirit heart. We have one key. I'll probably open up one of those chests. Oh, no, that's up. That is good. Oh, that also just confirmed something for me that I hadn't really paid attention to thus far, and that's any new heart for Mr. Boneface, otherwise known as Friendly Skellington, is a bone heart. I really should have known that, given that we've seen it happen enough times, but I wasn't internalizing it. Yeah, the melee focus thing, but also having maximum HP that gets eroded as if they were spirit hearts, I don't like. I don't like that mix. But if you could have spirit hearts as well, then that would alleviate the problem because you'd still get your deal with the devil chances as per normal and all that good stuff. But because of the way it's handled, it doesn't appeal to me really. And this was apparently made by the Afterbirth guy, which probably explains why it's so similar to an item that was in Afterbirth. I don't know if there was a little bit of tinkering. It's so similar to Jacob and Esau as well though. I imagine the fact that you can switch to the ghost was also their idea. It's just it's not implemented very well. So we have Super Meat Boy, Fan, and a cube of meat also. If I want to get boss rush I have to go faster than this. I wasn't thinking, I was just going my normal slow speed, contemplating and deliberating and talking, but that's not how I can play if we want boss rush. I was going to do, or try and knock out the greed and or greedier stuff, but that would just make me hate the character more, so I'm trying to hold off on doing that. Probably until the next time I stream the game again, but I'm not sure. Oh, did I get that big one? I did not. Ooh. Okay, that was close. That was also very close. It needs an undue amount of concentration as well. At least from me. Maybe it becomes second nature if you play as him enough. But I feel like I'm having to concentrate too much on like playing as him, especially if I'm forcing myself to go fast. We haven't had the item room yet, but I will fight since we're here. Oh. Didn't get sent flying when no, he didn't get sent flying that time. That's strange. Speed and range is fine. Can't take that. Alright, let's quickly find our item room and move on. Also, if you like the Forsaken, that's fine. You can like him even though I don't, and vice versa. Don't make this an internet thing where everything has to be an absolute and everything has to be an argument if there's a disagreement on something. For the most part. I know you aren't like that. Randoms are. I'd like to try and maintain this heart. There's a half heart on the floor. Oh. Got confused with where I was there. Crystal ball is okay. It's a... Oh, and the secret room's right there. It's a way to get some spirit hearts. It's a shame about it being a bad secret room, honestly. Wow. Secret rooms were never great, but my god did they get worse. Alright, 5 minutes to the first 2 floors. Not particularly great. Should definitely have went to the shop because we have 21 cents, but I'll save it for the next floor. Hopefully it's just a normal... Nope. It's the catacombs. The D6. Okay, well, the D6 is also very good. Ah, the pinking shears are very, very good. The pinking shears are good enough to take, I feel. The D6, though, that's... It's a shame because it's so bloody tempting. Oh, speaking of tempting, it's tempting now to just play as the ghost because otherwise I'm at risk of losing a full red heart, like I just did because of my speed. That's the kind of crap I'm talking about that's just not fair or fun. I think range ups do affect how far away you can hit them with the bone, but it's hard to tell. Because eventually you're going to have to resort to just playing as the ghost, and it feels like the ghost gets nerfed damage compared to you. Although I don't know if that's a fact. It feels like my damage went down there. But that might be because the ghost isn't getting Super Meat Boy fan influence. I don't know. That's a lot of bats. So I do have something to talk about, but again, playing as the bloody Forsaken is so distracting. It's no Isaac, it's no Eden. There's a chest somewhere. Invested. Yeah, he's so much weaker in ghost form. Although, yeah, the boomerang mechanic with the bone as well feels utterly useless because it's just so much weaker than a normal swing. I get that it couldn't be powerful because then it'd be like Mom's Knife Light, and they didn't want that because that'd be too overpowered. I mean, I guess. Not that it's particularly useful because again it only helps the... Whoa, no. I'm tempted to just run away, but the chance at items is very alluring. Like 2 batteries, for instance, and of course with my curse, and it is a genuine curse of always picking the wrong way. That's what makes it so difficult for me to get deeper, because it isn't always just that I play slow, even though I do play slow. It's that I find the wrong way. I don't know. Maybe it's just I don't have the internal logic logic of how the levels are put together to know roughly where the boss is likely to be on any given floor type. I don't even know if there is a formula like that. And now we're going to go much slower because I'm going to have to use the ghost because I'm at risk of losing another full health. Just, it's a very bad character. Very badly balanced. If we could have had spirit hearts, we would be absolutely fine. It would have been a much more interesting way of doing the character. Although I guess you could argue if he had spirit hearts, it'd be the same as everything else. But he wouldn't be though, because he'd be melee focused. And the reason you have the boomerang throw is for those rare rooms where you need range to be able to finish them. There's a lot of rooms where having range is definitely preferable, but there's a few rooms where you must have range or you can't. We're going way too slowly. Just in general. Found the item room, found the shop. Pretty much just going to let the body handle him. I like how we look when we've not got our body attached. Didn't get a red heart drop though. No deal with the devil, obviously. Alright, we'll just go because we're trying for boss rush. Green mode will definitely be a situation where it's you hold R until you get an okay start. Jesus Christ. Like, why bother ever pressing buttons in item rooms, in shops, in arcades? Didn't mean to play that. There you go. Got my money back plus a little bit of profit. Oh, I got a half heart too. It was just a waste of time. Let's quickly look in here. If it was red chest, I would have been tempted, but sadly not. I'm going to go off on a tangent anyway, because I feel like this is probably going to be, well, not necessarily a loss yet, but a failure to get to boss rush, which is a different form of loss right now. Loss.jpg. I have spent my last few days over the last week watching the DC Cinematic Universe movies that I hadn't seen. Now you might be asking, why? And that's a very, very good question. I just felt like it is the answer. I've seen Wonder Woman, that's the only one I'd seen prior to this endeavour. And my feelings on Wonder Woman was that it was very boring. It was just okay. None of the action was particularly interesting. The main character was the guy who plays Kirk in the new Star Trek films. Wonder Woman barely does anything, barely says anything, because she can't speak English very well. She's getting better at it, now that I've watched the later movies. But still not great at it. When she's concentrating on trying to speak English, that means she doesn't emote very well. She looks the part, though. So yeah, I'd seen Wonder Woman going in. But I started with Man of Steel. And then a few days later, I watched Batman vs Superman. And then a few days... well, no. Then later that same day, I did a back-to-back double feature of Suicide Squad and Justice League. I ended up talking about Man of Steel in a Monster Hunter play session on stream with a few people in the calls, so I don't really want to hash over that again. Oh, damn it, I should have got that right. Oh wait, no, what was I doing? I could just do that. Gotta remember that mechanic. The short version of my thoughts on Man of Steel were that outside of some very, very badly written character moments, I thought it was pretty good. I didn't hate it. But there was like two incredibly stupid moments that are there because they have to be to make the plot work. And obviously it's unintentionally funny when you're supposed to be cheering for Superman saving Lois and he's landing in a gigantic crater where Metropolis used to be. It was just unintentional hilarity, which honestly just made me appreciate it more. But yeah, in general, I thought like the fights were awesome. The story was fine, other than the plot holes. Oh, how does this work with the bone? It doesn't. Shit. Oh, it does if you do the boomerang. I think maybe now it might be a good idea to just use the ghost. Although his damage is going down. A quick recap of the two scenes that are very badly done. Well, three maybe. Because Kevin Costner telling Kid Superman to let people die rather than reveal his powers is stupid. And it wasn't Kevin Costner's fault. I actually thought he was really good in it. It's the first thing I've seen him in since Batman, maybe? Batman from the 80s? But I thought he did a really good job. He just had terrible, terrible dialogue to say. Say, oh, Pa Kent, should I have let that school bus full of children die instead of saving them? And then he kind of ums and ahs and goes, maybe? It's just the stupidest dialogue ever. I'm just going to go to try and save time. But the two worst parts are definitely Zod demanding that Lois Lane come with Superman to his spaceship for literally no reason, because she's just a human. There is no reason for him to believe that she is important to the plot at all. We as the audience know that Lois Lane is important, but Zod doesn't. She's important within the context of the movie because it's discovered that she can get in contact with the person that Superman is. Zod doesn't know that. So there's literally no reason why he would say, hey, this human has to come to my spaceship with Superman. Or else. I'm not sure what that's going to do with Tech X or the... no, nothing. This is the one good thing. The one good thing amongst many, many bad things about this character is they did put in synergies for the bone. So that was stupid. Also, the worst one was near the end when the MacGuffin machine was destroying Metropolis. And Perry White, played by Morpheus, played by Lawrence Fishburne, he waits really long before he tells the people of the Daily Planet to flee, and then he's kind of looking at the death beam, just shooting, like, not literally meters from his building, but close enough that they were stupid to wait that long. And at that point, that teleported onto me there. At that point, he decides, we should leave. So he tells everybody to flee the building. They leave the building, and then for no apparent reason, they start running towards the MacGuffin machine. They don't run away from it, they run towards it. And then without any kind of transition, all of a sudden they're in an alleyway, and the secretary that apparently you're meant to care about is stuck under some rubble. I have no idea who that character was. It's just... those two scenes were just monumentally terrible, but I like Dragon Ball Z, and the fights were essentially just Superman and Zod's generals punching each other a lot, so I liked it. Yes, there's a hilarious disregard on Superman's part for human life, especially at the end. But I wasn't bored watching it. I do kind of wish they'd spent more time... this is actually something I didn't mention when we were talking about it on stream. I kind of wish they'd spent more time with the... like, they show Clark Kent really young and he starts developing his super hearing and super sight in school, and he can't cope because it's too much, it's sensory overload. And like, that was a really interesting mechanic of him struggling to get to grips with being able to hear and see like everything and see through everything. And Ma Kent teaches him how to kind of get around that. Like, that was a good little thing. They should have done more with that. But they didn't. Oh, first of all that. Haha, what would that do to the bone? It turned it to piss colour. It does look like... well, maybe no. It kind of looks like I've got less range in my swing, but that might just be me imagining it. So yeah, if they'd done more with that stuff rather than Superman as a young adult, like travelling the world, kind of saving people, but also kind of drifting because he doesn't know what he wants to do with his life because his father gave him terrible advice prior to dying. I think that would have made the start of the movie less boring to people. The general kind of dank atmosphere as well, I didn't mind. I like the atmosphere of the Marvel movies where they don't take everything super serious. But I don't mind super gritty if it's done okay. I can get why it would be getting tiring if you've seen too many movies like that, which I haven't really, so maybe that's why. I did also go into this with very low expectations, so that might be why I'm being a bit more forgiving, but I can't pretend I hated something that I liked. But if you want to hear me go into even more detail, which you probably don't, but if you did want to hear me go into more detail about Man of Steel, it's in a Monster Hunter PC VOD somewhere. Can you please just gonna do that? Thanks for that. Yeah, talking about Man of Steel is in a Monster Hunter PC VOD. Honestly, couldn't tell you which one. Maybe like part 7, maybe, or 8. Oh, this is a ghost run now, incidentally. But then I watched Batman v Superman, which is notoriously bad. Now, I watched the Ultimate Cut, which has 30 minutes of extra scenes, and that honestly instantly told me a lot, because when I was watching it, I was like, other than one scene here, I can't see how this makes any sense without these scenes. And the one scene that I thought wasn't needed was in the theatrical release. It's the scene where Batman has like a hallucination dream of a apocalyptic future where Superman rules over it. Like, that's utterly unnecessary. It does literally nothing for the movie. It doesn't need to be in there. And yet that was in the theatrical release, and apparently they cut out 30 minutes of other scenes that it definitely needs to make sense. So yeah, I haven't seen the theatrical cut. I want to though now, because I am curious how it differs. Other than the Ultimate version pushing it to 3 goddamn hours in length, I thought it was good. Like, of all of them, I think it's the one I enjoyed the most. I feel like the guy who plays Superman, what's his name? Henry Cavill, something like that. I think he's a really good Superman. Ben Affleck is a really good Batman. Forgot I couldn't fly because I wasn't on the Ghost. Although I know the Superman guy is in trouble for some comments he made recently. He said he didn't feel comfortable talking to women anymore because he wasn't sure what was classed as sexual harassment or not. You should know the difference. Let's just put it that way. But either way, I think he's a good Superman. He's better than the Superman they had in Superman Returns. And Ben Affleck is a really good, like, old and bitter Batman. And other than him killing people, which I think is explained in the Dark Room, we made it to Boss Rush. We're gonna die in it, but we made it to Boss Rush. The fight scene with Batman in the warehouse is the most Batman fight scene that's existed in any Batman film. That includes the Chris Nolan ones, the old ones from the 80s. It's the most Batman fight scene he has ever done. It is just a shame that he kills people. I think, I heard a crap ton of criticism about the various things people found problems with in Batman v Superman prior to watching it, so I saw them coming. It stretched too far. I understood the plot, and again, that might be because I saw scenes that they definitely shouldn't have taken out of the theatrical release. And my understanding was that prior to Batman making his return, he did not brand people, he did not kill people. He came back bitter and angry, so then he started getting rougher with his opponents. That is my understanding of events. I might be wrong, but that's the only way this makes sense. And Lex Luthor, other than being played absolutely terribly by Jesse Eisenberg, is that his name? His motivations are very muddy, and there's only one glaring plot hole as far as I could see after watching the Ultimate Cut. Which is, it's never explained how he's worked out that Bruce Wayne is Batman. Because he knows, and he knows well in advance of the events of the film, as you find out towards the end. But it's never explained how he worked it out. Now you could just do a throwaway thing like, oh, Lex Luthor is very smart, so of course he's worked it out. Still would have been nice to be told. Can I get multiple bodies? Oh, I can. Because, like, Superman working out who Batman is shown. You do have to kind of do a little bit of a reach. Batman doesn't ever work out who Superman is prior to Lois Lane telling him, I think. I can't quite remember now. He doesn't really care. He just hates Superman and wants to kill him. And Lex's whole thing is orchestrating the situation where he wants Batman to hate Superman to the point of wanting to fight him and defend humanity. And then he wants Superman to hate Batman to the point of willing to take a human life. Because the whole shtick of the movie is, like, humanity arguing over Superman and like, how he decides who to save and who he doesn't save. So Lex wants him to fail by killing a human, willingly, rather than accidentally. That all makes sense. Within the context of the film, it all makes sense. What doesn't make sense is towards the end, where Lex says, when he's talking to Superman after he sees that neither one of them have killed the other, it's like, oh, Batman didn't have the balls or something to finish you off. That makes no sense. Because if Lex is a smart man, which he is, there is no way in hell he would ever have believed, even with kryptonite, which he knew Batman had, that he would be able to kill Superman. It made much more sense in my head that he expected Batman to lose and wanted Superman to lose in the sense of being forced to kill a human to save his mother. That makes sense, but him actually thinking Batman was going to murder Superman, oh, we got divorce papers. We actually unlocked something, so that's a plus. It was just dumb. And it's just a throwaway line, like, just before he releases Doomsday. He's like, oh, the Bat didn't have it in him then. Like, that makes no sense, Lex. You made sense before. Did I go to the light room on that floor? Maybe not, but who cares, because we got an unlock. It makes no sense. if you wanted things to happen that way, unless you just had absolute faith in Bruce Wayne, which also doesn't make much sense for a smart man. I do plan at some point to watch the normal cut of the film because, like I said at the start, 30 minutes less context sounds absolutely terrible, because other than the one scene that I know for a fact was in the theatrical release because it was in the trailer, none of the scenes I saw were scenes where I thought, it's just a waste of time scene. Like that's just characterization that you didn't really need in a cut where you want the film to not be 3 hours long. So yeah, the theatrical release must have been terrible. Or just nonsensical. And yeah, I would totally agree there. If you haven't watched the Ultimate Cut, you probably did see a version of the film that just made no goddamn sense. We don't need to go fast now. I can start taking my time a little bit. We're at great risk of death, and also getting Leo was terrible because I was hoping to be able to hide behind rocks as the ghost. We have no way of generating spirit hearts, let alone red hearts. But hey, I've gone down this rabbit hole, might as well finish my story. That was almost death, right? Oh, not death. It would have just emptied the... Oh, Christ. Don't want to go back that way. Gonna go this way instead. Oh. Just gonna stay over here, and the run's gonna slow down a lot if it is going the distance now. So yeah, of all of them I watched, I liked Batman v Superman the most. Oh, we found the boss straight away. And Man of Steel second, I think. But then I watched Suicide Squad. Don't really know what that was doing as a film. It was very boring. Very kind of The best part of it was Harley Quinn. Perfectly written as Harley Quinn, her special kind of crazy. Played really well by whoever the actress is that played her. But she's also the worst part, even though she's definitely the best part of the film. Because it makes no sense that Harley Quinn would be recruited into a team designed to fight a bad version of Superman. Because that's the... I don't know if she's an FBI lady or the director lady. That's her whole shtick. She's forming a Suicide Squad, an expendable squad, in case the next person who comes to Earth that's as strong as Superman isn't as good as he was. It's like, okay. So Harley Quinn's got a baseball bat and a gun. What is she going to do against a superhuman that's bulletproof? What is Deadshot going to do against a superhuman that's bulletproof? It's just... It's so difficult to get over that very obvious plot hole that I just couldn't. Also, the only real villain in the film, you could argue the Joker, I guess, but the lady who forms the Suicide Squad, she's just a bitch. She is the villain. She murders innocent people. Kind of spoilers, I guess. Suicide Squad is relatively new. She murders innocent people and lets villains off the hook. She is definitely the worst. But overall, very boring film. The fights were all garbage. I do like that Batman gets a couple of cameos in it. Once when he's apprehending Deadshot, and one when he's apprehending Harley Quinn. And he just punches Harley Quinn in the face to knock her out. It's very funny. Very ungentlemanly, but also very funny. Oh, did I take the negative? I did, okay. Just had a horrible moment of, oh god, did I take the wrong one? Because I could just go down without killing it lives. Couldn't I? Yeah, nutsed it. It's my best chance for survival, honestly. Cut to immediately dying. Oh, I could just stomp with them. What am I doing? So yeah, Suicide Squad, don't recommend it. It's just kind of dull. I heard that the Joker wasn't in it very much, and that's kind of true. I didn't hate Jared Leto's Joker. I don't think it's very good, but I also... it's fine. He acts like the Joker would, I suppose. The sort of right kind of dark, edgy, crazy. He mumble talks too much, though. There's too many times where he's talking real low like that, and it's just... I couldn't hear him. Also, it sounded like he was talking through, like, fake vampire teeth. When he was doing the mumble talkings, that part I didn't like, but For what he is in the movie, it's fine. The movie itself wasn't fine. But very forgettable. Don't know why it was a thing. Don't know why they thought to put it where they did. Also very clearly cut very strangely. And way too many moments where they're just relying on a song that you remember. Like, hey, remember Seven Nations Army? Or whatever it was called? Remember this song by Queen? It stunk of desperation. But then I watched Justice League, and also a fun little game you can play. I mentioned this on Twitter. Compare the tone, or sorry, the hue of colours on the Man of Steel, sorry, not the Man of Steel box, the Justice League box compared to Batman v Superman. They've upped the saturation hugely to make all their costumes look brighter than they actually are in the films. It's really, really obvious with Wonder Woman and Superman's. And they haven't colour corrected the film itself, they only colour corrected the box, which is very strange. Bitcoin, I don't remember what it does. Last minute try for a Spirit Heart. Okay. I think we're just going to go for it. I'm worried that we're going to die and then I'm not going to finish by talking about Justice League. Justice League, I think, had the best characterization of the Justice League members. I think they're all written better than in previous. But Steppenwolf, I've never heard of as a villain. He's very boring. He's just a man with axe. Oh crap, how am I supposed to do phase 2? I guess put myself in the middle, by which I mean phase 3. So I didn't care about him or like the MacGuffin squares. It's like, oh, the Avengers had one magic Tesseract square, so we're going to have 3 magic squares. And they're going to be, we got Pointy Rib, we're not doing Delirium. We're going to try for the Dark Room win. So we've got 3 MacGuffin squares we have to stop him getting. Just a big general meh to that. But yeah, the characters were written better. Just do that. But sadly I didn't enjoy the film overall just because I didn't care about the villain or his motivations. Nobody was ever in any danger except Batman, I guess, because they're all just superhumans who can take a hit. It was really obvious both where they reshot scenes because Henry Cavill, Superman, he had a mustache for a different acting role at the time, so they had to spend millions digitally editing out his mustache. And it's really obvious when they do it because like his upper lip just looks totally different in very uncanny valley. And it's often in scenes where there's no forced humour. Because they got Josh Whedon in to be like, hey, make this into a Marvel movie because people don't like the edgy shit. So he edited in a bunch of jokes. Some of the jokes work. But a lot of them don't. They do the Josh Whedon thing of being quantity over quality. And there's one specific one I'm thinking of where this is spoilers, but it's already spoiled for you if you've ever seen the box to Justice League. But it is a pretty new film, so just say spoiler warning in general. Not long after Superman is brought back to life and he flies to Kansas with Lois, they're in a field together, then there's a very obviously added scene because his lip looks super weird. Where Lois is like, paraphrasing because I don't remember exactly how she says it, but she says, oh, you smell nice. And Superman kind of pulls away and says, what, I didn't before? That is very clearly edited in. It doesn't fit the tone or attitude he's had thus far. This is not doing as much damage as I'd hoped. Like, I feel like, I know the biggest complaint everyone has about all the DC films is that they go for dark and edgy. And watching quite a few of them almost back to back, I get that. But it was kind of a nice change of pace. I don't have any problem with the Marvel movies' general kind of silliness. I know they're getting a bit serious now, but in general they're sillier and livelier and everyone's always quipping at each other. I get that, that's fine, and it's good. It's probably still better. But I appreciated a different tone. Maybe I was just in the right mind space for having like this dark apocalyptic version of Earth with superheroes. But now they're not going to do that because everyone said we don't like the dark edgy shit. And there is definitely a fine line with what's acceptable and what's not. And it is very easy to go too far. But the the inserted forced jokes in Justice League just were terrible. It did also... Oh, can you dig up 2 more Forsakens? It just detracted from the film. The forced humour, and then the bad villain. I don't think we're getting out of this. Nope. I don't think we would have killed the lamb anyway. We managed to get, what, 2 unlocks? 1 for doing Satan and 1 for doing the boss rush, so that means I can take my time at least. So we just have Darkroom Kill to go, Delirium, and then both greed modes. Thank you for watching, and for listening to me blather away about my wasted day, or 2 days, spent watching the DC Cinematic Universe. Honestly, for the most part, I thought they were fine. But anyway, I'm not a movie reviewer, so whatever. Thank you again to Sean Fortune, and I will see you next time. Ta for now.